Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 24 with the Oakland A's. Press the Oakland A's if you're a fan of John Travolta. Our last season was an incredible success, despite once again having a subpar offense, which is becoming a rapid theme. Nonetheless, we were gloriously victorious, and we won the World Series, which is obviously what we're all here for. That's what gets us up in the morning in the baseball world. Which is amazing, obviously. It's fantastic, and I'm really eager to see what we can make happen this year. But that doesn't mean we can't get better. And in baseball, as indeed in life, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And so we need to identify those players that we should be adding to improve the team. So, first things first, one thing I wanted to address. A couple people have said in both the last video and videos before that, Abby, why don't you move them into a new stadium? Let me separate two topics out here. Multi-use stadiums are a plague on baseball. Although I've never been to Oakland's Park, I have been many times to Municipal Stadium up in Cleveland. And it was an awful place to watch a baseball game. It was truly terrible. To the point where sometimes I'd be offered to go see a then Indians game, and I'd be like, no thank you. It's not fun to be trapped behind a pole and be kind of stuck like that. Wait, Michael Perez got 183 strikeouts? Without starting? That is completely fucking bonkers. Anyway, I got distracted there. So, from a real life perspective, I completely agree with that sentiment that these multi-use stadiums are a scourge on the idea of baseball and should never have been allowed in the first place. I get wanting to save money, but the sports are just too different. You wouldn't play football in a baseball stadium. I don't know why people wanted to play baseball in a football stadium. Although football in a baseball stadium would be funny because it would be way too small. That would make an interesting contrast. Interesting contrast. But anyway. In game, though, I'm not going to do it. And there's two main reasons. First of all, building a new ballpark can be fun, but there's no strategic level to it. It's just, I can build a park wherever I want to build it, and then poof, we move. I don't find that satisfying as a gamer. I much prefer something like what Madden does for football, which is there's a whole process. You have to have money saved up or secure financing, and then you get your new stadium. And that feels awesome to me. I really enjoy doing that whenever I've played Madden. I haven't played Madden in a while, and I probably won't anytime soon, but regardless. That's what I love about Madden. But OOTP doesn't do that. For whatever reason, OOTP doesn't do that. And because it doesn't do that, I don't think it feels as fun to build your own stadium. Unless it's purely aesthetic or you're really getting deep into roleplay. And you're like, I'm an Oakland A's fan, this is the stadium they should have always had, let's get it. So that's why I'm not doing it. I've also built the team around it now. And yes, the park suppresses offense, but it also helps our pitching staff. So it's also important to remember you only play 81 games a year in your home ballpark. So you don't want to be so specialized that you can't handle things outside of your home park. So anyway, that's why I decided what I decided for this game. So let's take a moment to gawk at how incredible Michael Perez was. Like, this is holy shit. This was a reliever who threw as many innings as one of my starters. That's wild. We're going to have a hard time keeping him if he keeps pitching this well. What a year for him. I wonder if Paul Skeens will get any consideration for Cy Young. He probably won't because historically voters have never liked multi-role players that do 2 roles in a season, but it'd be kind of cool if he did. Anyways, so what do we need to fix this season? Well, let's look at our offense and decide which positions feel fairly safe. Peyton Green, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. I see no reason why Peyton Green will not stay with us, at least till the end of his contract. I don't think he's Hall of Fame worthy. I truly don't. But I think he'd be in the Oakland Hall of Fame for how productive he's been as a third baseman. But he's not going to get to any of the big counting stats, it would seem. Now, maybe his career has a brilliant second act, and that's entirely possible. But this is an example while relying heavily on WAR and not looking at other stats and context can cause you to misjudge certain players. What Peyton Green does exceptionally well is play pretty good defense at a premium position, and I would consider third base a premium defensive position, while having a good amount of pop, plenty of on-base percentage, and a pretty decent average. He is a great player, but he's not a Hall of Famer. He just isn't. That could change, obviously. If he puts together... So let's think about this. If he puts together 5 years at his career average, he's still not going to be at 2,000 hits. He's still not going to break 300 homers. And I think that's what's going to hurt him. If he has a 20-year career, then I think he has a chance. But if he does end up having a 20-year career, it probably won't be with Oakland. Because I'm not going to be able to afford him. I don't think I can even talk. Yeah, I can't talk about extensions yet, not until next season. So Green is amazing. Romero is arguably even better. Because not only does he play a premium defensive position, he's also a good hitter. Just like Green, but he's actually like a tiny bit better than Green. Now, I have some concerns about his long-term abilities, and one way to solve the current issue we have is maybe shifting him over to second. I don't know why the game thinks he can't handle second. I bet he probably could. But he is a little bit error-prone. So that could be something to consider. Alejandro Garza got a full season and actually performed quite well. I'm not saying this guarantees him a spot on the roster, but he certainly seems like he's a pretty solid player. Jacobo's another one I'm excited about because he has not remotely scratched the surface of what he can accomplish. And I do think that given a little bit more development that he's going to be a really good one. Oviedo, I mean, he'd be better in the outfield, but my bigger concern with him is that he just hasn't broken through yet. It's beginning to reach the point where I'm concerned it never will. He's had 3 full seasons in the major leagues in which he's been above average offensively. There's no disputing that. But not by enough from a position that should be offense first. And Oviedo playing the outfield has a little bit more to give. And this quickly becomes the issue. And this is our problem. He's dominant against right-handed pitching, and he's basically average against left-handed pitching, which is fine. But this is another position we could potentially do better just by moving him. That's something I'll consider in the offseason. So who is not safe? Bayascoa, I'm not willing to give up on yet, but I am quickly realizing I don't think he'll be a good enough player to get major opportunities. I'm not saying it's impossible, but for right now anyway, I'm just kind of eh. He has the potential to be a top tier leadoff guy, but the problem is he doesn't get on base enough. Like, he is drawing plenty of walks, but he's also striking out way more than he should be given his skill set. He's not hitting often enough, so. Basco is on thin ice, although he does have. Oh, he just has a World Series ring. Okay. Who else? Minor. I don't know what is wrong with certain players I have. Like, everything I'm looking at rating-wise convinced me Minor should be a pretty good player. But he just hasn't done that. For whatever reason, Mr. Minor has not managed to be as good as we need him to be offensively or defensively. He's fine. But he's not great. I find it hard to believe that this is his true offense level, but I find it equally hard to believe that he's ever going to reach the maximum heights that I think he could. I'm not saying we're going to trade him or get rid of him, but I am saying that I am concerned about his future as an Oakland A. I think this season he has to prove it to me. He has to come out and just be excellent at all facets of the game. He's not a 5-tool player, and that he's not going to be an elite superstar for years to come. But he should be way better than he was, and has been. I know part of the issue is he skipped AAA, but I mean, he's never been a great hitter in the minors either. So, maybe he'll figure it out. He's still kind of young, but also maybe he won't. The two true black holes in the lineup, other than Minor, who might eventually figure it out, is Orozco and Siegler. I don't know how to feel about Orozco. Orozco is a fairly good second baseman. Like, defensively, I think he's fine. And he was a plus defender for us, so that's whatever. But he's a guy with only one tool. Well, maybe tool. He's also kind of fast. But he can steal bases, he can hit home runs. There's nothing wrong with that, but he's not hitting enough home runs at a high enough rate to really convince me that he is the second baseman of the future, even the second baseman of the present necessarily. And then catcher. I think it's important to note that despite his underwhelming offensive performance, a lot of that was with Kansas City. And once he came back to us, he actually played relatively well. I'm not saying he is the catcher of the future, but the problem is I don't really have a catcher of the present. I have a bunch of players who claim to be catchers, but none of whom are all that good. And for whatever reason, my drafting of catchers has not worked out. Like, yeah. So catcher, I think, is one of the other big areas we can perhaps improve at. I mean, it might mean keeping Siegler for another year, just to help maybe improve a youngster, unless we can find a really good youngster, in which case we'll go for that. So let's talk about Rule 5 players. Danny Jackson is what I call the player most likely to be traded right now. He's a left-handed power bat, and we know how our park doesn't like left-handed power. He has hit in the minor leagues, which is very helpful. But I don't think he's well-rounded enough to be a useful piece. I don't want to lose him either, so I'm going to trade him for a prospect and see if we can grab somebody intriguing. I mean, Danny Isaacson is one of my favorite kinds of player, but I don't think so. Ed Arnett. This is my guy here. I think he's excellent. He could very well end up being a starting second baseman sooner rather than later. The fact he plays all the infield positions quite well makes him an excellent player. So we're going to go ahead and make it Arnett. I'm going to ask for Isaacson. If I get him as a throw-in, I'm fine with that. But if I have to put in anything else in the deal, I'll just say no. But I will submit the offer and then submit a day once I've done anything else I want to do. Other Rule 5 people. Man. Ibarra has a ridiculous amount of potential, and he has just not performed at all. I don't know what his deal is. I truly don't. Yes, it's probably you made him pitch in Double-A his first season in the majors, so he lost his shit. That's fine. But he shouldn't be this catastrophically bad. I don't get it. I truly don't. He has every potential tool to succeed. He just hasn't done anything. And so the question becomes, is it worth trading him? I mean, some other team is going to look at this guy and think they have an ace of the future. And they're going to probably give me some decent shit for him. And I think... But here's the other issue, right? All these shitty numbers come with a guy who's had absolutely no opportunity. He's pitches like 60 innings a year out of the bullpen. That's not really enough to develop in a meaningful way. And I don't want to give up on him in case he does become elite. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and add him to the 40-man. Or the 38-man, sorry. And we'll worry about Hurtado here in a little bit. And we'll talk about some of these other guys at that point as well. Let's talk arbitration. Mike Swanson wants a raise. Mike Swanson, you have earned a raise, and I will happily give that to you. Like, I'm not even going to hesitate. We have a lot of money this year. This could be a nice year to make a big splash if the right player comes up. Michael Perez wants... This is kind of what I was referred to with Michael Perez. Like, he wants a shit ton of money. We can have a chat about that here in a second. Jacob Kendall is gone. As much as he has done for the A's, I mean, I could keep him, but it just doesn't seem smart to me. It doesn't. Especially coming off of a serious injury, I don't think he'll be the same player. So I think we're going to go ahead and probably non-tender him. And let him hit the free agent market. Zach Kent. I don't really feel like paying $3 million. I don't feel like giving a guy a raise that didn't play very well. I'm going to trade him instead and see if I can get an interesting prospect for him. What do you have? Do you have fucking 10-5 rights? You jerk. Yeah, you do. No, he doesn't have 10-5 rights. Oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. So I cannot trade him, in fact. Not before arbitration time. So I'm just going to go ahead and non-tender Kent as well. Oviedo, I feel like we have to give him a new deal, at least for one more year. I have the money. So there's little reason not to keep the players that we know have been decent contributors. Oh man, Perez is such a weird guy, and he wants a giant sum of money, and he's already 30. Like, there is absolutely no way in this universe or any other that'll ever replicate 2033. I don't see that being possible. But he might replicate 2032. I think that is far more likely. And I do think that's worth a fair bit of money to me. I'm not sure that's worth $6 million. Wonder if he would take $5 million. No, he wants to get paid, and I guess that's fair. I have enough money that paying him $6 million for 1 year doesn't bother me, so I'm willing to do that. But yeah, Kendall and Kent are both gone. Anderson wants like $20 million if I remember right. That ain't happening. I am not spending $20 million on a pitcher who's already 35. The real question is, to offer him a qualifying offer. Here's my problem. I think he'd take it. He is high greed. I have the money. And he was a really good pitcher last year, too. But I think if I put compensation on him, no one else will sign him. Unless... Do I offer you a qualifying offer, Anderson? It's more than he's asking for a 1 year deal is my problem. Which means he probably takes it. And I don't think I want him for $26 million. If we're going to spend that kind of money, I want it to be somebody truly elite with a long future ahead of them. It doesn't seem like that's the case for him. I've not been doing this for a while. Daniel Lloyd, please enjoy. Oh, you already have a major league deal, so I'd have to offer you a proper extension, and I don't think that's worth it. Rainy DeJesus is fine, I suppose, but he didn't play that well for us. I'd have to think I'd be able to do better if I chose to. What does Siegler want in a new contract? He wants a substantial raise. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm going to let all these guys walk, I think. You would take Paul Skeens. That is really interesting to me. I see no reason not to. Done. We just freed up another shit ton of money. We could be gigantic players in free agency. Did we get a new owner? I wonder why all of a sudden John Fisher is like, oh, you want to send money now? Cool, do it. But I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I think I have... Oh, we do need to hire some new coaches. So, who takes over Double A as hitting coach? I can't control who Katsa hires as bench coach. Otherwise, I would happily promote Vicente for that purpose. Brea's pretty good. Let's promote him to Double A hitting coach, not to Major League hitting coach, though. And then Bradley Cantor gets promoted. Does Cantor get Major League hitting coach? He'd be really good at it, I think, if we did it. I think I'm gonna do it. I know I said I wanted to go out and get a big time hitting coach, or maybe that guy was here all along. Are you controlling? No, you're normal. Amazing. Yes, I'm gonna promote you and make you my new hitting coach. I don't think you're gonna be around forever, but hopefully I can get some quality young coaches to take over in the future. I want Michael Soto to be our new Double-A hitting coach. Wait. Oh, I guess I only have A ball. Okay. I mean, actually, Garrett Gracchi would be a better choice if we could get him. And then Soto would be... Yeah, Soto would be a perfectly cromulent hitting coach there. Oh, this is a good year for free agency, because this is our first year in a very long time to actually be able to make a giant splash. There's a lot to like about Chris Hughes. I'm not going to give you Sean DeWitt for him, though. Sean DeWitt is way too high in my estimation to give him up for an admittedly really useful and cool player, but I'm not going to give you DeWitt for him. And that's all you want. You want an elite level prospect. I say no thank you. People signing extensions. Soto signed. Wait, is this the Michael Soto? No, it isn't. But he did used to play for me. That's a cool thing. I will happily give you 200 grand. I think you're a special talent, and if what I think happens does happen, then I will 1000% be considering giving him an offer. There we go. A gold glove for Oviedo, despite the fact he spent most of the season at first base, I think. Did he? Oh, there's almost season left field. So well done, Oviedo. You know what we're going to do? I think if you're earning a freaking gold glove, I think you get to stay in that position. That's just how I roll. So please play him in left field. Stop trying to put him at fucking first. You giant weirdo. Did Perez win reliever of the year? He did. I doubt we'll get an MVP. I did get a Cy Young award for... Oh, I got flagged because Andrew Painter. Katse won Manager of the Year again. Gross. Now he'll be completely insufferable. He's going to talk about doing things the right way. Which means like playing Oviedo a fucking shortstop or something. I think real life Ronald Acuna has got an excellent chance to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know if this gets it done for me, though. How does he compare? Yeah, I don't think Acuna gets my vote. Definitely not Adames. Definitely not Alonso. Alvarez I would consider. Mookie Betts is a no-brainer. I will quickly chuck him my vote. He's a no-brainer. I will tentatively vote for Alvarez, even though I'm not super convinced. Boggarts and Brennan, I will vote. Bichette, not so much. His career was too short. Mad Bum, yes. Garrett Cole, absolutely. I don't think Jacob deGrom or Bumgarner will make it in our timeline, even though I think they both have a pretty decent shot in real life. Bryce Harper. I mean, Frankie is my boy, and he should definitely make it. Same with Manny Machado. Aaron Nola had a surprisingly great career in this timeline, so I'll absolutely give him his chance. I'm running out of room on the ballot, though, and I'm not going to leave off Joey Votto. And then I guess Trey Turner seems decent. Oh, I still have one more spot. Okay. If I was gonna go back and pick anybody, I don't know who it would be. Like, this is the kind of spot I'd use on a marginal pitcher, but the thing is, I just don't think so. I'm gonna vote for David Price as kind of a thank you for an amazing career, but I don't think he's gonna make it. Predictions, we could have like 7 Hall of Famers this year. It really just depends how people vote. Hopefully Joey Votto makes it. I like Joey Votto a lot. And then go to free agency filings, and here's where we have a chance to be big players for the first time, maybe ever. If there is a truly special player, we will be acquiring him. You may be assured of that. Alright. No. Tempting, but I'm not spending $45 million on a catcher. That seems really dumb. Derek Mitchell would be an awfully good player for us. Awfully good. He is fragile, but is actually played more often than not. I will come back to Mitchell, but he's a definite possibility. Carlos Correa is a no. Jim Morrison is possible. Maybe. Oh, please use my own scouts ratings. Don't use these fucking posers. There we go. Now I get a bit of a better sense of how good these players actually are. Well, I'll tell you one sign I'm going to make right now, which is Johnny Ray. Yeah, I'm happily going to give him an offer because he's super cheap. I'm not going to give you the rotation, though. You're going to pitch where you pitch, and you'll like it. No, you want to spot at the rotation. I'm not going to give that to you. I don't think so. Wow, really? Like, a guy like Nishihara would be pretty handy, but no. Alright. So who's going to be my giant splash into free agency? Alvarez is way too much of a risk. He's a great catcher, but I'm concerned about his offensive production. For $45 million, I'd want somebody who can hit like an all-star, and I'm not convinced he has that in him any longer. In the past, yes, but he's already 32, and 32-year-old catchers tend to be a fairly bad investment. So I think I'm going to pass on Alvarez. Correa won't sign with me. He hates Marcotte. So that's a kind of a non-starter. Derek Mitchell is a maybe. I think there's a lot to like about a guy like Derek Mitchell. He's a really talented hitter. He's still only 29. And he's going to offer us elite power. And because he's a switch hitter, and he's actually good against either bat, I do think he is a fairly good risk. But I will look at Bobby Witt Jr. too. No. This is not $50 million, guys. This is not $50 million, looks like. I know he's been an exceptional player, and he's a pretty good shortstop. I'm not saying he's not. But this just doesn't feel like $40 million to me. $40 million is somebody who can transform an offense, and I don't think Bobby Witt can do that. Derek Mitchell can. I need protection. That is what I need. If I can get team options for the end of this contract, then I will sign it. I'm not ignoring the fact he's fragile, but I do think this is the kind of deal we have to make. And the cost is so, like, the significant cost is, yeah. I think we have to consider this deal. Because we need a big bat in the lineup, and I think he'll last at least till 33, and he'll probably opt out because salaries will be truly ridiculous at that point. Who else might we want? I want to look at catchers. And I want a catcher that can both provide some level of offense, but is also really good defensively. Let's good defensive catcher. Ronald Hernandez is a decent defender but can't hit. Bo Naylor can hit, but he's not a very good defender. Adonis Guzman is an amazing player, but he is absolutely not a very good hitter. I do think we'll offer him a contract, though, just because he's a captain. And having him on the roster as a backup might be really useful. But I don't think I see starting catcher levels there. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'd rather bring Siegler back than take that bigger risk on Alvarez. That's just how I feel. I'm gonna change this filter. And I'm gonna increase this to at least 55. Like, I'm not gonna waste time with a 50 catcher. I have plenty of those. And I don't think that's very helpful. And we're gonna resave over it. Okay. I think Sugaste feels like somebody who could be a pretty decent catcher given an opportunity. So I think Sugaste I will also offer a contract to. All right. Is there a quality shortstop who isn't going to break the bank? Or actually, we could use a second baseman too. I'm going to clear the filter. And then we're going to go right up to the top here and see who might be available. It's hard for me to get this excited about Jose Salas. I just don't see a ton of value there. I may have mine, doesn't mean I need to blow it, right? Like, it doesn't mean I need to go ultra crazy pants with it. It's old friend Mike Neely. I remember Mike Neely. I remember when we thought he would like transform our offense and then he had 2 mediocre years and then disappeared. I remember that too. This is a lot of money for a player who's not an elite second baseman and who 2 years ago was below replacement level. I think you're delusional, my friend. I think you're absolutely delusional. I'd offer Tyler Callahan a minor league deal, but I'm not convinced he'd make the majors for me. So right now, I don't have a reliable... I need 1 to 2 reliable starting pitchers. I'd like to get 1 veteran starter who can offer us some good shit. I could get Chase Petty back. Mm-mm. Ian Anderson has lost his goddamn mind. No one's gonna give you $30 million, my guy. I want to be shortlisted so I can watch as you just get wrecked. I think Hunter Brown could be a nice pickup. I think he's too cheap not to try. Here's what I want from you. I want a 3-year deal with 2 team options. Because if it turns out that you're good, I want to have you locked in this nice cheap rate. But I'm happy to spend a couple million to do that. I'm not paying for Shane McClanahan's rehab. That's stupid. Jacob Lopez is one of the riskiest pitchers I've ever seen. A side armor that's pure finesse. I don't see that ending well for him. Okay, there's enough interesting lower tier pitchers that I'm more than happy to wait and see who else we might be able to shake loose. Center field. That is a position we might also be able to upgrade. I am not putting Derek Mitchell in center field. That is not happening. No, not with that injury history. Michael Mullinax is fine. I could maybe bring him in, and I think he'd be useful depth. So I do think I will give him an offer. I'm gonna do the same deal that I did with the other guy. I'm gonna offer you 1 5 1 2 1 2 3. There you go. There we go. So we got some offers, and only one of them I'd consider a big one, which is the one to Mitchell. And we still have lots of money left, so we can always do this on upgrades in season. And I will slightly increase our ticket prices because we just won the World Series. I think $1 increase is fair. Do anybody right now whose contract is coming up for that we might want to extend while they're still relatively cheap? I need another year with Yumin Lin to make a decision. I don't know that I want him back, so we're definitely going to give him one more year for that. Swanson is already fragile, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't keep him for the right deal. What are you looking for in a long-term deal, my friend? Fuck you. I am not paying you $14 million before you've proved yourself. Nope. That's a no from me, dog. I think we have to wait on a lot of our younger starters. We need to see if they can actually make this happen before I commit to them long term. Alright, guys. Rodolfo Romero casually commands $35 million a year and probably deserves it. Pete Howell is not a starter. Please don't make him start. I think he'd get eaten alive if he started for any kind of lengthy period. Oh, let's also look at our international free agents, shall we? Haha, you thought I'd forget again. Okay, I did forget again, but let's go to December. Okay, great. Okay, great. I guess this is probably more like no news is good news, but I do find it deeply weird that we haven't heard from any of the people we've targeted yet. Game, why do you do this? It just goes like, tee hee hee, you actually asked for nobody to be scouted. That's not what I said at all. Oh, you did run the scouting. Wait, what? I am badly confused. Okay, you did actually scout them. Okay. I don't think I will. I mean, bringing back Max Clark isn't the dumbest idea I've ever had, but I don't think it's worth it. Not at the moment, anyway. Plus, I want to see how some of my free agent signings work out. You really want to get rid of Max Clark, don't you? Oh my god, would you shut up, Toronto? Wait, did you literally sign River Liver and then immediately trade him? I think you did. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. You would give me Chris Hughes for Sean DeWitt. I can't do that. I like a lot of things about Chris Hughes. I think he's an excellent player in a lot of ways. I am not giving you Sean DeWitt. I cannot. He's too freaking good. And so this is a no from me, dog. So I lose a third round pick. I don't really care. This could be among the most expensive mistakes I'll ever make. But I think it was worth it. I truly think it was worth it. I'd love to get a new center fielder just so I could send Minor to AAA to work on his offense. But we'll see what happens here. Hunter Brown was arguably as important to me as getting Mitchell because we do need another starting pitcher, and I do trust him. We have a lot of high upside pitchers. We don't have a lot of currently high ceilinged pitchers, though. Is the thing. I could use a new bullpen guy too. Why am I offering you a contract again, Tyler Callahan? What? I didn't want to sign him. Oh, because all you got is a minor league deal. That's fine. That is completely fine. Ramirez is really good. But no, this is an absolute big fat no from me. I cannot trade. I cannot trade Mike Swanson. No, Alberto Gatto is like a vaguely interesting reliever. Why on earth would I ever give you somebody that special for him? Alright, gang. Alright, gang. I don't mind if we lose Hurtado at this point. We'll see what happens, but I don't mind if we lose him. So we're gonna sim right on up to Rule 5 time. No, don't be stupid, game. Please. Hey, if the Yankees want to make you a starter, good luck to them, but... Actually, bad luck to them. Fuck the Yankees, but... Auto draft until I pick. Someone... Really? No one took Hurtado. I kind of figured somebody would. You're a little bit too green here, Mr. Berman, for me to consider bringing you along. Camillo is not. I will happily choose Mr. Camillo. Offer, and that's all I'm going to pick. I only wanted one player. Really, of all my youngsters, Jim Schubert, the mediocre shortstop, is the one that gets selected. That's funny. That's genuinely high fucking hilarious. Alright. So now we now need to crew up some 38-man roster space, which is not at all something I did not predict. Kelta is the first one who's definitely getting taken off. And then probably Victor Marin, too. Yeah, because he's actually genuinely not very good last year. And now we can add Sugesti and Mullinax. Mullinax Ford. You go to AAA. I really want to keep Gonzalez. If I'm going to do that, though, someone else has to come off the 40-man, and I don't know who that is right now. Probably Alvarado. And then I can put Guzman, and he can make the team as a backup catcher. And Linares can work a bit more in the minor leagues. Oh, wow. Okay. I guess people were hankering for Alvarado and Marin. Good for them. Wow, apparently, I'm sorry, the Victor Marin was like the most favorite player of everybody. Hopefully the fact that I added a genuine, like, top tier player will somewhat calm your concerns a bit. I'm gonna chuck 30 million into player development. I also want to increase. I've got plenty of other money, so I'm not concerned as much about the budgeting, but I did want to put more money to player development. Where am I at on scouting? We can add another 5. We can go up to 25 million here. I've still got, like, shit tons of cash that I can't possibly use. So you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to max them both out. There's no reason not to, right? There's no reason not to. And then player development doesn't have a maximum, but I've heard it's never really smart to go above double. I'm going to go for 40 million, though, because I like even numbers. They make me happy. There you go. And I don't want to fucking hear it, because the owner's still going to make, like, a giant sack of cash. So I think everybody is going to be happy. For sure. Oh, good. Joey Votto was probably going to get inducted whether he wanted to be or not, so I'm actually really pleased to see that he made it in finally. I don't disagree with any of those. I'm a little surprised that Frankie is taking so long to make it in, but I do think he's got a really easy path to making it. I bet he'll make it in another year or two. Do I? Oh, yes. Kamani Kita. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah. Scouting. He probably won't make quite as much money as he wants to, but to that I say, shut up. I mean, I have to go all in on Jesus Moreno. No, I don't have to go all in on Jesus Moreno. He's an amazing person, but he's not a very good catcher. We'll see we'll see who I think is the best fit. We're definitely going to be getting at least one player. Fucker. Stop. Like, at what point does your take Chris Hughes? Like, I would love to take him from you. I am not giving you DeWitt. And I'm definitely not giving you Cabral either. Like, seriously. Like, we can talk about this. Like, I'm not going to categorically refuse. But you're not getting one of my elite prospects for him. He's not that good. What if we started with Andy Santa Cruz? That doesn't move the needle. I'm not surprised. I'm not going to give you Bobby Stoll. Luis Delgado is somebody I'm really counting on to make a big impact, so that's a no for me as well. What about Luis Castillo and Elisha Canada? I will give you a big ol' hunk of mid-tier prospects for him, but I'm not giving you a great prospect. Wilson Carrillo, I think, is a very valid ask. Could I keep Elisha Canada? He's the only one I actually really want to keep if I can. You can absolutely have Caleb Loris. I don't think he's ever going to work out. Maybe he would, though. I want to keep Canada because if I'm not able to keep what's-his-face, I would give you Hurtado, actually. And then Carrillo can't play second, so I don't care about losing him. Yeah, I will make this deal. I actually really like Chris Hughes. And I think he's more as a second baseman than any other position. Oh, I need to free up a 40-man spot for you now. I don't think anyone's going to take Juan Castillo. I feel pretty strongly that... I'm going to trade him, actually. I'm going to go ahead and just trade Castillo and see if we can get an okay prospect for him, rather than risk losing him for nothing. I mean, you know me about players like Cardenas. They are one of my weaknesses. But no, I would like a young catcher, please. Phil Brick cannot catch. Neither can Cooper. Philbrick is a pretty decent hitter, so I do think I could get him and Cooper and see if either one of them ever fucking figures out how to catch. It seems unlikely, but not impossible. Actually, can I get Spanos instead? You're asking for fairly good players. So what if I drop Philbrick and only ask for Spanos? Okay, you're only asking for like mid-tier prospects at this point. So you can have Adachi. I am more than happy to do that. So I cleared the 40-man roster spot so we could add Chris Hughes. Hughes probably shifts to second in this offense. But now I have protection. Plus he can also pitch. I'm not saying he's a great pitcher, but he can also pitch. And I think that makes him a bit more valuable than he would be otherwise. Yeah, Spanos could be a stealth good starting catcher. So for now, I'm going to put him in the minors, but there's a real chance, a real likelihood, in fact, that he could be starting as our catcher in the next 2 to 3 seasons. No. If I'm trading Oviedo, it's got to be for somebody who's going to be a top-tier starting pitcher, and I'm just not convinced that he is. International free agents. Let's freaking go. So, I have a lot of bonus. I can, basically, any contract, any player I want, I can have. Moreno is a fantastic offensive talent. He is also not a catcher. Not currently. He is really smart, which means he'll probably develop fairly quickly. But I am concerned about Moreno. Jorge Silva. Now, Jorge Silva... I like Trevino a lot, too, though. He's a lefty. Interesting. What if I offered both Silva and Trevino $3 million? I wonder if that would move the needle enough for either one of them. Because I'm not going to bother on Moreno. I don't think he is significantly talented enough to deserve it, because I don't think he'll stay as a catcher. What trade did you end up getting? You end up getting $21 million, so I made the right call. If I had offered him a qualifying offer, he would have taken it. Brooks Lee isn't terrible, and Juan Ceja isn't much to look at, so I will complete this trade. I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, were we? Were we actually close to a blockbuster? I don't think we were. I think you are fooling yourself. I will chuck on 4.4 million. I think that's reasonable. But I'm not going to max out the cap for you. Yeah, you're going to regret that real hard, Detroit. Neither of you are interesting. There you go, Trevino. I will push my chips in a little bit further. No. No. You know what, Silva? Get fucked. Okay? Get fucked. Nah, I don't think so. You're offering me interesting young pitchers, but they're all so far away from the majors that I'm just not convinced. Alright. Trevino is, to me, the better prospect, so I will crank open my account for you. There we go. You literally cannot make more money than I just offered you. So if you truly want to be an A, you should probably sign that contract. And so will sign with Detroit, probably getting the max amount. It was always a gamble to try to push for both of them. But I do think Silva's injury history is scary. So I had to step away from that deal. I like how Trudeau instantly got worse the moment I signed him. That's always what you like to see from a position, from a new player. Alright. Do I want to change ticket prices again? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. We'll go to spring training start, and then we'll start shifting people around. And decide who's going to make the big leagues this year. Alright. So, who is deserving of an opportunity in the minor leagues? Or in spring training, rather. Oh, I know what I did. I meant to go untouchable, not... yeah. I think DeWitt is going to get himself an opportunity. We can let him have some reps in the bigs. Isaacson, Loris, Mora, yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like we're not pitching pitchers enough. We might have too many pitchers. That could be the issue. But this is becoming... It's what's stopping our starters from developing, is that up until they get to AAA, they're not really getting meaningful innings. Like, I'm sorry, you need at least 100 innings to truly show whether you're capable of great things. Oh, you moved Romero to second and kept Hughes at short. I don't have a problem with that. If we want to try to use that at short and let Romero play second, I think that's perfectly fine. And spring training is a great time for him to learn a new position, right? Like, it's the ideal time. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let us go up to the day of opening and then set our roster up. Remember, in order for us to earn money, so to speak, on a $45 million contract, he's got to be worth 5 to 6 wins. That's how we know we've actually gotten close to our money's worth. So that's what we'll be looking out for. Looks good. Guys, if Chris Hughes can hit even a little bit, that's going to be an awesome trade. That's going to be an awesome trade if he can hit even a little bit. I don't know how you have a dead arm, but have you tried not having a dead arm? I do think it seems still has a weakness at catcher. I am not convinced at all that either of our starting catching options are actually good options. But we're going to see what happens. We're definitely going to see what happens and see what we can do to address the position long term. But I wasn't going to pay $45 million for Alvarez. That much money for a 30-year-old catcher is just a terrible investment. Alright, we are presently rocking 19 pitchers, one of whom is Hughes. Don't forget, Hughes is also a pitcher. So we can realistically dispose of 7 pitchers. I don't mind Luberta actually getting a chance to make the roster as a starting pitcher. I actually think that's a reasonable choice. So I think we will keep him. Cullison to the minors, Hayden to the minors, Loris super hard to the minors, Venegas to the minors, Ibarra to the minors. What does that put me at? 14 pitchers. I need to send one more down. It's either Fairbank or Wiltz. Did Fairbank ever pitch in AAA? He did. I think I want to keep Fairbank, and I think I'll send down Wiltz. I think that's my final decision. I could also just return Camillo, but I do think Mr. Camillo here does have a little bit of upside to him, so we're going to send down Wiltz. And Casey Wiltz under pressure. Anyway, Linares gone. Lim and Nelson both gone. Guys, this is Caleb Sellers' first base job. You're going to have to just accept that. Position players. Ayala's really just a first baseman. Orozco can at least make use of himself, so we're going to send you down. Moreno also seems somewhat superfluous to this roster, but I'll consider it for now. Until I figure out which position players need to return. DeWitt, obviously. I'm not going to rush him. Mora to the minors. Minor, you've never played in AAA. I think 1 year in AAA is fair. And if there's an injury, you can come back. How long are you out for? You just have a bruised ankle. You should be ready to go for opening day. Isaacson to the minors. So got to get rid of 2 more players. Almost certainly both of them will be outfielders. I do want to keep Ochoa. I do think Ochoa has a part to play here. It's probably going to be Litwin and Biascoa, to be honest with you, because that still gets us a nice mix of outfielders, and then we'll have a couple decisions to make later on in the season. Alright, we're down to 26. This is our opening day starting staff and our bullpen. I feel real good about the bullpen, actually. I think the bullpen is one of our team's biggest strengths. And then, yeah. Letting Garza DH against lefties is fine. Or against right-handed pitching is fine, but I do think we could probably improve at DH. That might be our next step. But I'm eager to see how Romero does at a less challenging defensive position, and especially what Hughes can bring to the table. I think Hughes is, besides Mitchell. Okay, Mitchell was the biggest upgrade we made in the season by far. We're paying a whole hell of a lot of money for him, so hopefully he will prove to be pretty good. But I think Chris Hughes very sneakily could end up being a big deal for us. I truly believe that. At some point, I'll probably ask him to stop pitching, but I think as a guy that can come out of the back end of the bullpen and throw a few innings every now and again, I think that's reasonable. Like, he's not an elite pitcher by any stretch of imagination. I'd never let him be a starter. But I do think he's at least perfectly competent to be a good pitcher. And then, as long as he can hit league average or above, I think he'll be a really good player. I truly believe that. He's also the reigning and defending Rookie of the Year. So there we are. Cool. Why is Jacobo not getting playing time? Interesting. I'm going to request that you make Jacobo the DH and bench Garza for right now. Because I think Jacobo is a good enough hitter that I want him to get at bats. So that's my last move of this season. Of this offseason, I think. What do we do for Peyton Green? We'll worry about that later. Which does Lynn want to stay? Lynn wants to get paid a lot of money. That's not coming from me. Our player payroll is going to go through the fucking roof because of all these guys hitting arbitration for the first time. I'd like to buy at least one of them out. Oh no. Yeah. I am not giving you that much money. Not until you've given me at least like a Cy Young caliber season. Then I'll pay you Cy Young caliber money. You've lost your fucking mind, is all I can say. Buying low on Chris Hughes actually might be interesting. I wonder what he would want in a long-term contract. This is actually extremely reasonable for a player of his talent level, and it gets me 3 years of free agency. So we're going to do it, guys. We're going to go ahead and offer him... We're going to offer him a longer-term deal. I think this is extremely reasonable. And the worst-case scenario for Hughes, the absolute worst-case scenario on this team, is that he plays third base. But I think he's a really good shortstop, and I think we'll be really happy to see what he can provide to the club. All right, my friends. So that's going to end it for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Mitchell. There's definitely some risk here, and this payroll ain't going to happen. We're going to have to make some hard decisions in a couple years. Hopefully by then... John Fisher is dead, and we'll have a little bit more money to spend, which would be great. But until next time, this has been UpGuardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.